back to Marissa Knits. I'm planning on running out of yarn in 2025. I've been weighing everything in grams, and so far I'm on track to do that. This is going to be a really quick 20-minute update on what I got done, sorry for the noise, on what I got done in February, and then I'm going to work. So we got our nice natural light here. This is my Tesselated pullover. It's by Andrea Mowry. This light blue is a sport weight, and it is by Wonderland in the color Frost. I have quite a bit of it left over. And then the Knit Picks Alpaca Boucle, just in the undyed color. I had 2 balls of this. That's kind of what inspired this project, is I had this extra boucle yarn that I didn't know what to do with. I have blocked the vest portion so that I could see how it would lay, but as you can probably tell, I haven't gotten the sleeves wet yet, even though I've been wearing it. So I really need to get the sleeves wet because they're very like bunchy right now and they're not laying nice and smooth like the body lays. The colorful section in this is by Goosey Fibers. It's the color Pleiades. Here we go. There's some peach and some light blues that match the other light blues, so they blend together. And then some olive greens and some tans. Really beautiful color. I like it a lot. Nice for springtime too, actually. This is just a sock base. So as I said in my other video, I kind of changed the weights of these. It was supposed to be 2 sports and a mohair. And I did a sport and then a fingering boucle and then a fingering sock weight yarn. So collectively, the sweater is the correct weight. It's just that like the secondary colors in between are a different balance, but I don't think it matters. This took forever to make. I don't love knitting bottom up things, and I have multiple tops planned that are also bottom up, so that's going to be really rough. I think I just didn't realize, I knew this, but I didn't take into account how many times you have to go around and around and around when you're doing mosaic because of how you're slipping half the stitches for 2/3 of the rows in this case. And so when you have to go around twice to make 1 row, it takes you like twice as long essentially, and I didn't love that. I put elastic in the collar. It's working really well. I'm really happy with how it lies. Her patterns are so cropped. Like, I'm only 5'4", so I wish I'd made this longer. I mean, I have all this extra yarn. Could have certainly made it 2 inches longer, but by the time I got to this armhole, I was already so bored. And I measured it and did it all according to pattern. I think I liked the exposed seam, but I thought about stitching it so that you couldn't see it like that. Yeah, the fit is good actually. I don't mind that it's cropped. I'm just usually gonna wear something under it. So yeah, that's my Tesselated pullover. I got it done just in time for some of our really, really freezing cold days. It was like we had 2 weeks of freezing cold weather where I was knitting the second sleeve as quickly as I could. And the last like day and a half of it, I had the sweater done and wore it on the last cold day. And then after that, it got warm again. And now all of our snow that we had just gotten has melted. So like this week, I didn't even wear coats. Some of the days it was like 45 degrees Fahrenheit. But segue, I guess that's a good segue. I made myself this headband. It's finished. So the main color is this Tippy Trees yarn. It's their February 2021 shop anniversary color called Devoted. And I'm absolutely in love with it. I got it secondhand on Reddit. So I have some of the boucle in here. I decided not to include the boucle the entire time. Like I said before, what happened is I was knitting a swatch with like different secondary colors. I think I started on this side actually. And I got to about like that much of the swatch and I was like, you know what? That's cute how it is. I'm just gonna keep the main color the same. So it was this held with like a plain blue that's left over from an old project. and then a couple mini skeins. There's like a darker reddish brown one, and then a light pink one, bright pink, I should say, and then a boucle. And I changed them every 7 rounds, and it's just like 21 stitches of brioche. This is the side that I did a good job, like with the slipping on every other round to make it make sense. And the other side of my brioche has like the secondary color wrapped around it. So one of my brioche turnarounds was good, and the other one, I think I'm gonna need to like actually read the instructions next time. I mostly followed a pattern that's a free pattern from a blog that I will link in the description for you, except this was too thick for me to sew it together according to the instructions. I tried like twice, and I ended up just kind of engineering this other way of sewing it together so it like folds in and looks a little bit like a bow. What I love about this is I can put it over, like, I can have a claw clip in my hair, and then I can put this around like over the claw clip when I'm driving to all my freelance jobs, and it will still cover my ears, and then it matches the gloves that I just made myself in January. So this has been a big success. I do wear it like basically every day, and it's really nice for the end of winter and springtime when it's not actually like that cold out. Just to continue talking about this yarn, even though I'm going out of order, my birthday was in February, which was originally why I bought the February birthday yarn. I thought it was like part of a birthday series, but it turns out it was just their shop birthdays also in February. And so I'm making myself birthday socks. This first one, I started a little bit before my birthday, and the pattern is Mousse et Lichen. It's French for moss and lichen. It's by a French-Canadian designer. I've shared this pattern many times since the fall, so I will link it again. And this designer has 12 different like botanical inspired patterns that you can buy as a set for about like $22 US. So I done that maybe like a year and a half ago when I started knitting, about a year ago actually, when I started knitting socks for myself and for everyone I know. I actually changed it by continuing to do this mock cable. I kept the mock cable going just on the sides of my foot. You can see there's like more cabling just on the cuff, and I did an extra cable repeat just to make them a little taller, and then a slip stitch heel. What was weird about this first one is it unexpectedly, like the stripes are really even. So you see all those pink stripes there, and then all the yellow stripes are really even. And I wish I'd made this pinker side the front, but I kind of got it backwards. Now I just have these like yellow stripes down the front, and I don't really like how the pooling turned out. So I wasn't in love with this first sock. I knit most of this foot on my birthday, or the day before my birthday, at the art museum in Chicago, and even in like the first room there was a Renoir, I think, like a woman knitting or sewing something, and my husband took a picture of us, like the two of us together. You know, life imitates art. So I have gotten a good start on my second sock, and my gauge must be slightly different, which is weird, and I don't really know how this happened, but it's not pooling in like a striped way. I'm already on the heel, and I don't have like straight up yellow stripes all down one side like I did in the first one. So I actually think I really like this one better. The colors on the heel are really pretty. This is going to be the front, and just the blues and pinks and purples in the front is prettier. So I think I'm going to be pretty happy with these socks in the end, but these are socks for me. I probably should have just done a stockinette pattern because I really like how they look in stockinette, and with the cable they're just a little bit busy, but I'm not going to remake them. I should have just made myself another stockinette one, but my thought was like, it's my birthday first of all, and I don't have any of these cabled socks for me, so this was my first attempt at making myself a cabled sock. I think I'm going to switch over from talking about socks for a second. I did finish the baby blanket that I said I was going to finish. This is for my nephew, so my husband's brother and wife, they are having their second kid in a couple weeks. It's a boy, and so my sister-in-law, their mom, picked out these colors. It's a giant 300-gram cake from Lion Brand, and I used the entire thing up. I didn't realize when I was buying it that they didn't like just connect 3 of the single balls together. Because when you buy one of these cakes, the stripes go way quicker. And so I thought I was going to get like teal, gray, white, dark gray, like repeating like 4 separate times, just all connected into one ball to make it easier to have all the colors be in order. But no, I started off by knitting a giant chunk of teal for what felt like an eternity, and then I never got to knit teal again until yesterday. So it turns out that my sister-in-law's friend was like, we're gonna throw them a surprise sprinkle. So we're gonna show up at a restaurant. A sprinkle is like sort of an American thing, just in parts of the United States. You'll just have like an event to celebrate someone's like second, third, whatever kid, where you give them like small gifts or maybe like diapers or something like a baby blanket that's specific to that baby, but they already have most of their stuff, so it's not as big of a deal as their first kid. So that's tonight. I was only about like 40% of the way done when I kind of found out they were doing that. So basically this whole white section, I sped through the gray as much as I could. A lot of that I did, like this entire section I did in the car on the way to my birthday trip to Chicago. And then by the end of that week, I was up to the white. And then last week on the 21st, I knit basically this whole white section in one day. And then since then, I've been working my way through this. And it's so funny how efficient I am. I just kept weighing it, doing the math, and I was like, okay, I need to knit 12 grams a day. All right, I'm ahead now. I'm like ahead of the game. I only need to knit 9 grams a day. And I just kind of went along like that. And then yesterday, I cast this off and threw it right into the washing machine on delicate, and I put it in the dryer on delicate. My sister-in-law is allergic to my cat, so I had to make sure I washed it for them. This pattern is called the Lee blanket. I will have to type out the designer's name. It has ribbing on the sides, and then a broken rib, and then this. It's not a real cable, it's just like a twist pattern where you don't need a second needle. All the way down. I've made it before. I brought my other one. This is like the rainbow one I made in 2023. My friend who's due also with a boy in May just loves bright colors. So I thought this like brightly colored one would be good for her son. And then this baby's nursery is more like dragon themed and like nighttime and stars and stuff like that. So they picked these colors. So I'm going to put this in a bag and take it to their surprise event tonight, and it's not going to be in my house anymore. It was like very quick, get this done this week, and I'm really glad it's done. I hadn't knit the pattern in a year and a half, so at first I didn't really remember what I was doing, and I did an in-between size there, and then I had trouble figuring out what the stitch count was because you're supposed to add stitches before you do all the mock cables. So after I had kind of done my own math and just made it work at this in-between stitch count, that's basically a medium size. I don't really know why I did that. After that point, when I started knitting the cables, I was immediately like, oh, I'm really bored. This is boring. I should have picked a different pattern. So I just had to force myself to get through it. Unfortunately, it's fine. I think I just didn't want to spend money on another baby blanket pattern. I'm probably not going to use it again. So, back to socks. This is the first sock I made. I made it just in time for my test knit deadline. I had shown it in the previous one and it's finished now. The yarn is Ashen Bumble in their sock set Autumn Equinox. It's the main color, obviously. I just did them in one color. These are for my aunt. I was actually test knitting. The pattern is Beverly Socks, and they're by the dyer from Maps Yarn. It's a really, really nice sock pattern because it's easy, and memorizable, and you don't have to look at what you're doing, but you still get a nice result. And it's also a textured pattern that looks good with very variegated yarns. And as you can see, I have a lot of extremely variegated yarns that I make socks with. So these are a really great fit for me. I'm probably going to take a break. I made a bigger size for my husband in like a green color, and I've started the year with second sock syndrome, even though it's all according to plan. So I'm going to need to finish his second green men's size sock in March. And this is just a standard like size 2 women's sock, 64 stitches. And I did actually follow the pattern by knitting a garter heel flap instead of a slip stitch heel flap. So since I was supposed to be testing, I just did exactly what the pattern said. And this is the result. The second sock is in progress. I decided to do something interesting and very amusing for me, other than the cast on, because it's tubular and you have to really look at what you're doing until you finish. You do like the one row of the slip stitches. I forget what that's called. Double knitting, basically. It's not double knitting. You do one row where you slip everything and go around twice. After that, I have to admit that's a nice cast on edge. After that, the ribbing is just normal. So other than doing the cast on very edge and first row at my house, I have knit this entirely at solo ensemble rehearsals and performances. Solo ensemble is an American thing. I'm pretty sure there's lots of different festivals. I'm sure they have them internationally too. Just regional things. It's where students will go play any instrument, and they sing a solo, or they'll play. Like today I had a violin, a viola, saxophone, flute, clarinet. And what was my other one? Can't even remember. I had 6 students today. And so, anyway, this is what I've been knitting exclusively at their events. So today I knit like this much of it in the hallway in between students because I had a lot of 20-minute breaks in between all my students. I had an event last Saturday as well. So this is my second Saturday of 3 Saturdays of these like music competitions. I'm a piano player, if that didn't make sense to you. So I accompany these students. Their teachers have been really on time with getting them into their rehearsals. So I haven't gotten a lot of this done at rehearsals, but if one of them is sick or like really late, then I get like 8 minutes of knitting in while I'm waiting for the next student. And then I get a lot done at competitions. So I will be updating you in March with how much of a sock can Marissa knit at solo ensemble competitions, 2025 edition. I mean, it's not like a lot, but it's also certainly better than doing absolutely nothing while I'm in the hallway. Like, I got all of this done in the last couple weeks just with dead time that I wasn't able to use. So the plan is finish these 2 socks this week. This aunt, her birthday's March 11th, so this is not going to take me 10 days. So once solo ensemble's done, I'll just finish that sock up really fast. I've got to do the sleeves of my Strata sweater. This is my Advent pattern. I have not worked on it because I wanted to get this done because it was negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit wind chill at the time. And so I was working on this and then baby blanket deadline. So I'm going to go, I think, buy myself a circular needle for these armholes. Once I get past the short rows to make the arm stripes line up the way I want them to, the sleeves are going to go really quickly because the colors are gorgeous. It's stockinette, it's addicting. I can do it like while I read or while I watch videos or score study or something. I have a little bit of new yarn. My cousin, for my birthday, got me 2 Ruby and Roses sport weights. This darker one is Urban Garden, which is gorgeous. And the lighter one is Headspace. This would be the one I'd probably keep for myself. I'm not sure who I'm going to give this hat to that I make with this yet, but I'm thinking of making hats. If you know of good sport weight patterns for something like this with the flex and the bright colors, like a cowl or something, definitely hit me up. Let me know, because I was searching for them. I didn't necessarily find anything. I also have this one ball of alpaca rowan. This is just the only ball I have in this color, and as you can see, it's a perfect match. So I might do like a double-sided hat with these two colors, and then I don't know what I would do with the extra. Maybe donate some headbands again or something like that. So that I think I'm going to work on in the summer. It's a little late in the year to need to give anyone hats, and so I'm not worried about that right now. Tippy Tree Yarns isn't dyeing anymore. Yarn, they're like retiring from being a dyer, and I had just discovered them on Reddit with this one, so I ordered the Swan Song set, which is one of their two last like dye projects. I was like, if I can never get this yarn again, I might as well buy their last one. It's very similar to this. So these two yarns are like 4 years apart from the same dyer, exactly 4 years apart. And so I have to go to work like right now. I guess we'll catch up on this later, but I'm going to make a shirt with these, and then I have 2 other shirts planned that we'll talk about when I get home. See you soon! All right, I'm back from a saxophone masterclass. I'm here. So we're just gonna talk about the shirts that I'm gonna make this spring. I thought it was so interesting how these must just be her favorite colors. This blue from 4 years ago, and this, like these colors just go together so well. There's the same yellow is in there, and the same purple is in there. Yeah, this one just has a lot more yellow in it. It's a little bit lighter. So I have picked out like a shirt. It has like cap sleeves. It's kind of tank top shaped. It's a very interesting construction. It's called the Luminous Tee by Yamagara. She is from Singapore, or she lives in Singapore right now anyway. That's just what it says on her Ravelry. And it's like knit from triangles on like both sides, and then eventually you connect it. I don't really know. I haven't bought the pattern yet, but this is going to be my main color, and then I'm going to use up as much of this as I can, and I might run out, so it'll be nice to have this blue for like the edges. So I'm pretty excited about that, but I think before I do that, I'm finally going to use up my Rowan yarn, and the pattern I have for this is called Novelli, and I'm pretty sure that one is by Boyland Knitworks. I forget their actual name, because I know that's not their real name. Where did my Novelli pattern go? I think I have it just email it to me. Yeah, by Caitlin Hunter. So this is going to be my main color, and I've actually decided that the lighter color for the color work at the bottom is going to be my leftovers from this sweater. I think that works. And then the darker color is going to be this like denim blue colored yarn that I was planning on making like a cowl for my mom with, but I'm sure I don't need all of it for that. So yeah, I was thinking of having the pink be involved with this. I know I said that in a previous video, and I got someone in the comments said they liked it, but I think that the blue like calms this down more and neutralizes it and makes it like, it just seems more brown and more like normal looking and less yellow. This really doesn't go very well with my hair, so it's fine. I like it, so I'm just gonna make a shirt with it. So that's also knit bottom up, so I'll start by knitting the color work, and then the whole top of it is just stockinette in this color, and I'm going to use up all this extra Rowan yarn that I have. And then the third top I'm planning on making is my first ever time knitting for olive merino. I got 3 balls of it. I'm gonna make the Barbaro blouse, except I definitely don't have enough yarn to make long sleeves. I'm just gonna see how much yarn it takes to make like the tank top part of it. And I'm planning on doing like little shorter sleeves, or depending on how it's looking and how it fits me and like how much yarn I've used and how quickly the yarn is going, I might buy a fourth ball and just like make the long sleeve version. I'm not really sure, but I'm planning on making like a short sleeved Barbaro shirt in this this is like the unicorn purple. It's a really nice lavender color. So those are the spring shirts I'm planning on making. So I'm going to start with the alpaca because I think it will be warmer. And then I'm going to do the brightly colored one and the lavender one probably at the same time because this is going to be on like my size 2. And this will be on the 3 and a 4. So they won't be on the same needles. Yeah, so that's my plans for March, is to do these sleeves, do 3-second socks, and start these shirts, and then I have 2 pairs of socks. I have planned one for me, one for my mom for her birthday in late April. Everything's going according to plan. I'm just going to share an update of how many grams I've knit. I've been very consistent, actually. So in January, I used up 581 grams, and in February, I used up 546 grams, for a total of 1,127 so far. But February has 3 fewer days than January, so if you divide it up by how much I knit per day, it's between like 18 to 20 grams-ish, so about 19-ish grams per day is what I've been knitting this year. So at that rate, I will use up all of my remaining yarn that's in my stash, which is almost 3,500 grams, not quite, but almost 3,500. I'm going to be using all of that up probably in about 6 months, although some of it's really scrappy, and so it takes a long time to plan. And socks, I don't think use up yarn very quickly compared to other projects. So we'll see what happens. But that is the plan. That's the hope. That's the dream. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for your patience. I know you all want good lighting, and so I've filmed this with good lighting so you can see all these lovely colors. I just have so many rehearsals. Like, I have to leave before 8 a.m. to get to some of these rehearsals. I work like 8 to 6. I work way past when all of the daylight is. And with my allergies, I can't like talk very well. Like, my voice doesn't sound good at 6:30 a.m. Not that it sounds good now. So I hope this wasn't too fast for you. I'll try and make sure the subtitles are working. And of course I'll link all the patterns down below. And we will see you next time. I do have spring break at the end of March, so hopefully I can film a little bit then. Bye! Have a good day. Hello. I have done my right sleeve cap today. I just finished these short rows. I'm gonna pick up the stitches for the second one tonight before I like completely forget what the heck I did, even though I took some notes. I went a little bit rogue. The original striped sweater was only 3 colors, so there was instructions about how to pick up like with the one color and the second color and the third color, and like knit 1 round of that and then do the short rows. And I just went really rogue, so I kind of picked up just like the inside of the slip stitches without even knitting them, and then what I picked up on the bottom I ended up just dropping off the needles at the end. So I haven't done any of the underarm yet. And then I did my short rows very similar to how I did my Pete sweater short rows in the fall, so that I did like a little bit of brown there just to cover that space. And now I'm pretty sure that where the end of this tan is will match the tan that's on the outside of my arm. So